तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We are in the conversations of 1st March 1885 Sunday. Heading of the chapter is Master and Narendra. Though Narendra has come afterwards, and then Thakur is talking to Narendra about Girish. Thakur was talking to Girish, but he is talking to Narendra about Girish, that you should not go there frequently. And Narendra was telling that Girish talks only about you and nothing else. And he has so much faith that you are avatar. To that, Thakur agrees and says, but how great his faith is, don't you think so? That means Thakur himself has told some negative points about him, that he had bad habits and it is like garlic and all that. But Thakur agrees with Narendra about the faith and says that how great is his faith, Narendra. That's all there. The devotees listened intently to the master's words. He was still seated on the mat spread on the floor, with M by his side and Narendranath in front of him. The devotees were sitting around. After a few minutes' silence, he said to Narendra tenderly, "My child, you will not attain God without renouncing woman and gold." As he said this, great emotion welled up in his heart. Fixing on Narendra an earnest and tender look, he sang. Now here, there is a footnote in English which is very important. It is not in the original Bengali because Master Mashai was not aware of what has happened in Narendra's life and mind and why Thakur is talking like that. He gathers from as much from Thakur's what Thakur told. But a great upheaval came in Narendra's life. I do not know whether this footnote has been given in any Indian language edition, but we read from the English. This was a very critical period in Narendra's life. After his father's death, he had been faced with extreme poverty. Friends and relatives had proved indifferent or treacherous. His rational mind could not reconcile the existence of human misery with the mercy of God. A few days before this meeting with the Master, on his way home, almost exhausted after a futile search for a job, he had sat down on the open porch of a house by the street. He had, I am adding here, he had fainted almost, and in that terrible condition, he said that as if veil after veil was lifted from my heart. And I could understand why there is misery in the life. And he also realized that he is not born to live a worldly life. He is born to become a sannyasi. And so the decision to become a sannyasi was born in his mind that time. He was looking for a suitable occasion. And one difference we find from here, we have to reconcile that somehow. Naren said, coming to know that the master was coming to Calcutta, according to great master I am talking. Coming to know that the master was coming to Calcutta at a devotee's house. I thought this is my best opportunity to salute the Guru and then go away. And Sri Ramakrishna understood all of this. And Swamiji narrates that from there, Thakur pressed me so hard to come with him to Dakshineshwar. Though I wanted to pay respects and go away, but Thakur would not listen to me and he took me to Dakshineshwar. In the carriage, he did not talk anything, but after going there, this song he comes. Now here we find Thakur is sitting in his room and Girish and others are talking with Thakur. It is Dol Purnima. And at one point, we find Naren entered the room. So shall we conclude from here to reconcile that Naren has come that morning or whenever it was, that scene has not been described by Master Mahasaya. He did not do anything. Some devotee's house Thakur had gone in the morning. And here Naren has come along with Thakur. But at that point, he might have been somewhere else in the garden. Because it is not mentioned Narendra came. Narendra entered in the room. So that much is the link. Anyway, so Master Mahasaya did not know. He had sat down on the open porch of a house by the street, waiting for a shower of rain to pass. There he had received a revelation in which he had found the solution of all the conflicting problems. He had felt refreshed, realizing the unreality of the world, and had determined to become a monk at once. He had come to the master to take leave of him. That seems to have been modified from the Leela Prasanga, but had not told him of his intention. Yet nothing could be hidden from the master, Sri Ramakrishna, hence this song. Now we come to the song proper. Just a minute, some important thing has come, I will check it up. He sang. So here, Thakur, now in that light we read, Thakur first confirms that Naren wants to become a sannyasi. Because he says, my child, you will not attain God without renouncing woman and gold. As he said this, great emotion welled up in his heart. That means Naren wants to become a sannyasi, that Thakur has confirmed. But something came in his heart because Naren had planned to go away. And that Thakur does not want. Thakur told him that day, when others were not present, that so long as I am here, you please do not go. You remember in your family only. And so Naren had faced all the troubles again. And so one day he pressed and made Master agree that from now on your family will not suffer for want of ordinary rice and ordinary clothes. So we now come to that song he sang. That song is Friends of Radha talking to Radha. That is the song. कथा बोलते डराई ना बोलले डराई मने संत होय पाछे तोमा धने हाराई हाराई. In the Bengali, it is not printed properly. Toma dhane harai, second time ha rai. Rai means Radha. Second time ha rai is not, should not be combined. Amra jani je man tor, dilam toke sei man tor, akun man tor, amra je mantre vipadete tori tarai. So, we have told you the secret. Now it depends upon you. Here one thing is common, that if Naren goes away, Naren will not be with the master, working for the master, serving the great cause for which the master has come. So about that Thakur is telling, we are afraid to speak and yet we are afraid to keep still. Our minds, keep still our minds, or rather, half believe that we are about to lose you. We tell you the secret that we know, the secret whereby we ourselves and others wish with the secret whereby we ourselves and others with our help have passed through many a time of peril. Now it all depends on you. So the meaning conveyed is that I am afraid if you go away, then who will be doing my work? So you have to remain. At present, with struggling with the house. Sri Ramakrishna seemed to be afraid lest Naren should leave him. That much Master has got from this song. Narendra looked at the Master with tears in his eyes. Swamiji said that up till now I had checked my tears, not allowing anybody to know what is in my mind. But seeing that Thakur knows all, it broke my bonds. That is how Swamiji described. So Thakur has understood everything. That is the main point here. And Thakur does not want Naren to go because Thakur knows that sannyas Naren will take. But Naren is born for a special mission for which Sri Ramakrishna came as incarnation, that itself has to continue with Narendranath and others. And so he is afraid that he should not go away. I should not lose you. And other parts of this song means that I have told you in a secret way what I have to told. Now you understand what I have told you and think accordingly. Because others do not know anything and Thakur does not want to expose Naren's intention in front of others. So it is So much within those two. But from the song, Master Masha has understood this much, that Thakur is afraid of losing Narendra. Now see the reactions. A visitor who was there for the first time heard and saw all this. He said to the master, "Sir, if one must renounce woman and gold, then what shall a householder do?" Those who are already married, because Thakur is telling without renunciation, they will not realize God. And so that householder became afraid and is asking, now Thakur's reply, Master, you may enjoy woman and God. What has passed between us is no concern of yours. So it is strictly in a coded way talk between Thakur and Naren. Even Master Masha does not understand. Nobody understands at that point what has happened between them. It is only much long afterwards when Narendra narrated this, then people have come to know. महिमाचरण चुप करिया बसे आचेन मुखे कथाटी नाही. So everybody has taken as if it is on them. Mahimacharan, Thakur made him sing this, that. But now Thakur is telling that without renunciation of woman and gold, nothing can happen. And so, Mahimacharan, a householder devotee, heard everything and sat speechless. Master to Mahima, go forward. That means Thakur is telling Mahimacharan, don't remain satisfied with what you have. Go forward in spiritual sadhana. Then some change will come later on. Go forward, push on. You will discover the forest of sandalwood. We have heard this story several times now. Go further and you will find the silver mine. Go further still and you will see the gold mine. Do not stop there. Go forward and you will reach the mines of rubies and diamonds. Therefore I say, go forward. Mahima. But sir, something holds us back. We can't move. So again that householder sannyasi thing has come. Master with a smile. Why? Cut the reins. Cut them with the sword of God's name. The shackles of Kala, time, are cut by Kali's name. Now that is a pun on the word. Kali's name will cut Kala's fetters. But meaning is that if you repeat God's name, all the shackles will go. So not today, then tomorrow. But principle remains the same. Every now and then, the master cast his gracious look on Narendra. He said, because others don't know what is happening, he said, have you now become an experienced physician? Quoting a Sanskrit verse, he said, he who has killed only 100 patients is a novice in medicine, but he becomes an expert after killing 1,000. So he has suffered sufficiently. Now you have known the nature of the world and you have to work in this world. Shatamari bhavet vaidya, sahasramari chikitsaka. Was the master hinting that Narendra, even though still young, had many painful experiences of life. Narendra smiled and kept silent. So, Master has guessed, but Narendra has known everything and he has smiled because of that suffering. Thakur is trying to make Narendra take it lightly. It was afternoon, so that portion is closed now. It was afternoon. The devotees were seated around the master, listening to Navai Chaitanya singing. Yesterday we read about Navai Chaitanya. He used to sing. Suddenly the master left the room, but the music continued. M accompanied the master. Sri Ramakrishna walked across the courtyard and entered the temple of Radhakanta. Because it was Dol Purnima, it is a practice in Bengal to give that gulal to deities, especially Vishnu. He bowed down before the image, M following him. There was some red powder in a tray. The master offered a little powder to the images and bowed down again. Images of Radha and Sri Krishna. Next, he proceeded to the Kali temple, passing up the 7 steps. He stood on the open porch and looked at the image. Then he entered the shrine, offered red powder to the Divine Mother, and saluted her. So all the deities. As he left the temple, he asked them, "Why didn't you bring Babu Ram with you?" So for all this, Thakur is as usual inquiring about everybody. Sri Ramakrishna returned to his room, accompanied by him and another devotee carrying the tray of red powder. He offered a little of it to all the pictures of gods and goddesses in his room, but not to those of Jesus Christ and himself. His picture was also in his room. Because it is an Indian custom, so he did not want, Christians do not follow that custom. Then he threw the powder on the bodies of Narendra and the other devotees. They all took the dust of his feet. That is the custom and tradition. In the cool shade of the late afternoon, the devotees walked about in the temple garden, leaving the master and M in the room. The master whispered to him. All say that they meditate well, but why it is different with Paltu? So Paltu, young boy, had said that I am not able to meditate. What do you think of Narendra? He is utterly guileless. Just now he is faced with many difficult family problems, and so his spiritual progress is a little checked, but it will not be so for long. So he conveys to Master Masha as much as could be conveyed. Narendra was arguing on the veranda with a Vedantist. That also appears strange. So much misery and this and that, but when he is engaged in argument, he forgets all this. Now and then the master went out to look at them. At the devotees gathered in the room, he asked Mahima to recite a hymn. Mahima chanted a verse from the Mahanirvan Tantra. It's a Tantra, but very much like Vedanta. We worship the Brahma consciousness in the lotus of the heart, the undifferentiated, who is adorned by Hari, Hara, and Brahma. Let us read, it must be in Sanskrit. Hridaya Kamalamadde Nirvishesham Niriham Harihara Vidivedat Harihara Vidivedyam Yogi Virdhana Gamyam Janana Marana Bhiti Brahmshi Satchit Swarupam Sakala Bhuvana Bijam Brahma Chaitanya Mide. Meaning is given in English. We worship the Brahma consciousness in the lotus of the heart, the undifferentiated, who is adored by Hari, Hara, and Brahma. Hari is Vishnu, Hara is Shiva, Brahma is Brahma. So all this Trinity worships him, the Supreme Brahman. Mahima recited a few more hymns and at last one to Shiva by Shankaracharya. That compared the world to a deep well and a wilderness. Mahima was a householder. And though he was singing about Shankara's, the hymn ran thus. He Chandrachuda Madanantaka Shula Pane Sthano Girisha Girijesha Mahesha Shambho Bhutesha Vita Bhayasudana Mam Anatham Sansara Dukkha Gahanat Jagadisha Raksha He Parvati Hridaya Vallabha Chandra Maule Bhutadipa Pramathanatha Girisha Japa He Vamadeva Bhavarudra Pinaka Pane Sansara Dukkha Gahana Jagadisha Raksha and other stanza. So this is about Shiva. O great God, O thou auspicious one, with the moon shining in thy crest, slayer of Madana. Madana means Kamadeva, lust. Slayer of Madana, wielder of the trident, unmoving one, Lord of the Himalayas, O consort of Durga, Lord of all creatures, thou who scatterest the distress of the fearful, rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of this miserable world. Sansara Dukkha Gahana Jagadisha Raksha. O beloved of Parvati's heart, O thou moon-crested deity, there is a moon on Shiva's head. Moon-crested deity, master of every being, Lord of hosts, O thou, the Lord of Parvati, O Vamadeva, self-existence one, O Rudra, wielder of the bow, rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of this miserable world. O blue-throated God, because the poison entered here up to, we have discussed this. O blue-throated God, Shiva, whose ensign is the bull, O fire-faced God, fire-faced one, lead of the worlds, Lord of the worlds, who wearest snakes upon thy wrist, O thou auspicious one, O Shiva, O Pashupati, O thou, the Lord of Parvati. So in English, compared to Bengali, fuller is given. In Bengali only Ityadi is written. Rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of this miserable world. O Lord of the universe, O Shiva Shankara, O God of gods, thou who dost bear the river Ganges in thy matted locks. So this has 2-3 stories combined. There is a big story. There was a king Sagara and he had 1,000 sons, and due to some curse or something, they had gone into the ocean, and somebody had told they will be redeemed when Ganges comes to that spot in the ocean, Ganga Sagar. So, one of the progenies, Bhagirath by name, there is a lot of austerities. Ganga used to flow in heaven. So she agreed to come to the earth, but if she comes directly on the earth may break, so much will be the force. So there has to be somebody to check my flow. So he had to appeal to Shiva again. And then Shiva agreed that he will hold her and gradually leave her down. So when she came on his head, his jata, the matted hair, became like a cauldron in which something is heated or boiled. And the Ganga fell there. Then again he had to request him to let her go, and then she could come to the ocean and redeem those 1,000 sons. So that is the story. Thou who dost bear the river Ganges in thy matted locks, thou the master of Pramatha and Nandika. Nandika is Nandi, she was bull. He was a devotee. O Hara, Lord of the world, thus rescue me helpless as I am from the trackless forest of this miserable world. Full song is given in English. Fine. O King of Kashi, Lord of the cremation ground of Manikarnika in Kashi. O mighty hero, thou the destroyer of Daksha, that his first wife was Sati and her father had insulted him and he had to kill that. That is, name is Daksha. Thou, the destroyer of Daksha's sacrifice, O all-pervasive one, O Lord of hosts, omniscient one, who are the sole land dweller in every heart, O Lord. Rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of this miserable world. O great God, compassionate one, O benign deity, O Vyomakesha, sky itself is its hair. Or his hair are floating in the sky. O Vyomakesha, blue-throated one, O Lord of both, thy body is smeared with ashes. Thou art garlanded with human skulls. Rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of the miserable world. O thou who dwellest on Mount Kailash, thou whose career is the bull, O conqueror of death, O three-eyed one, Lord of the divine three worlds. From third world is called the eye of knowledge, and from there the sun's rays had come and burned that. Kamadeva. Beloved of Narayana, conqueror of lust, though Shakti is Lord, but you are also Lord of this. Beloved of Narayana and conqueror of lust, rescue me, helpless as I am, from the trackless forest of this miserable world, Lord of the universe, refuge of the whole world, O thou of infinite love forms, Soul of the universe, O thou in whom repose the infinite virtues of the world, O thou adored by all, compassionate one, O friend of the poor, rescue me helpless as I am from the shackles, trackless forest of this miserable world. Master to Mahima. Why do you call the world a deep well or a trackless forest? That means I have known what is the secret of the world. Don't repair such negative things in the presence of Narendra. Master to Mahima, why do you call the world a deep well or a trackless forest? Trackless? An aspirant may think so in the beginning, but how can he be frightened by the world of if he holds fast to God, then he finds that. So some other person has written this. This very world is a mansion of mirth. Here I can eat, here drink, and here make merry. So I am not bound, I shall behave as it comes to the mind, that is the only thing. For a sannyasi, why should you be frightened? Hold fast to God. What if the world is like a forest of thorns? Put on shoes and walk on the thorns. Whom should you fear? You won't have to play again the part of the thief in the game of hide and seek once you touch the granny. That is for the hide and seek game. King Janaka used to fence with two swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Nothing can frighten an expert player. So Thakur is providing a summary, the outlook of even the apparently low order of sadhana. For Thakur, nothing is low. King Janaka used to fence with two swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Nothing can frighten an expert player. So, as it is here, so it is in heaven. King Janaka used to fence with two swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Nothing can frighten an expert player. So implication of all that is in the world, in the household itself, one becomes free from tension, free from worry. 12. My mind is still drawn to what he has just recited. Somebody else has recited that Mahimacharya. Why should you be frightened? Hold fast to God. What if the world is like a forest of thorns? Put on shoes and walk on the thorn. Whom should you fear? You won't have to play again the power of the third in the game of hide and seek once you touch the granny. Okay. King Janaka used to fence with two swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Nothing can frighten an expert player. Apparently, he can come to this or come to that, but in his real nature, he knows everything. That is his enemy. King Janaka used to fence with two swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Nothing can frighten an expert player. To him, my mind is still drawn to what he just recited. Mahimacharana has recited, but Thakur has completely assimilated it. Sri Ramakrishna referred to the hymns chanted by Mahima. One day, whole day he was chanting hymns. Navai Chaitanya and the other devotees began to sing. They were joined by Narendra, who danced, drunk with divine love. Afterwards, he said, "This is the one thing needful. The chanting of God's name, all else is unreal. Love and devotion alone are real, and other things are of no consequence." So it becomes, the sadhak becomes forced to think of God. Later, Sri Ramakrishna went out in the direction of the Panchavati. He asked M, that means M also had gone. Huh? He asked him about Vinod, a student in M school who has he now and then experienced, he has now and then experienced ecstasy while thinking of God. The master loved him dearly. This all directing towards Panchavati. Well, some speak of me as an incarnation of God. What do you think about it? The master came back to his room and sat on the small couch. He repeated the question to him. The other devotees were scattered at a distance and could not follow the conversation. Master, what do you say? M. I think so too. You are like Sri Chaitanya, the master. Is it a full manifestation of Brahman or a part? Tell us how much M. So M has read the scriptures. M. I thank so late. You are like the Chaitanya. Hmm. The master came back to his room and sat on the small couch. He repeated the question to him. The other devotees were seated at a distance and could not follow the conversation. Master, what do you say? M. I think so too, that everybody has the potential to do. M. I think so too. You are like Sri Chaitanya, Master. Is it a full manifestation of God or a part? So Thakur wants somehow the householders must know. He asked M about Vinod, a student in M school who who now and then experienced ecstasy while thinking of God. The master loved him dearly. So, according to his span of life was short. As he was returning to his room with him, he asked, well, some people speak of me as an incarnation of God. What do you think about it? The master came back to his room and sat on the small couch. He requested the question to him. The almost devotees were engaged at a distance and could forbid the conversation. Master, what do you say? Again and again wants to check him. I think so too. You are like Sri Chaitanya. Master, is it a full manifestation of God or a part? Tell me how much. Tell me how much. There's it. Is it a full manifestation of God or a part? Tell me how much part? Huh? Master, what do you say, M? I think so too. You are like Sri Chaitanya. I don't know, but it is true that there is in you an incarnation of the divine power. There is no doubt that God alone dwells in you. Master, that is true. We have to agree. Chaitanya also wanted to realize Shakti, the divine power. Narendra was engaged in we read this heated discussion. Shiva Ram, who had recently recovered from an illness, joined him. Master to him, I don't like such discussions. To Ram, that Pujari, will you stop that? Some musical instrument she was playing. You haven't been well. All right, go on solidly. Then you get so excited. To him, I don't like these discussions. I used to weep and pray to the Divine Mother, saying, "Oh Mother, one man says it is this whole, others say that it is that. Do thou tell me, O Mother, which is the truth." Okay. So we have come to the end of conversations of that day. Saturday, March, I think time is there, but we'll take it up tomorrow. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavivireditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Vigrunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.